Hi friends, I am excited. Today I'm going to show you 3 different math curriculums that my family has used in the past, 2 that we're currently using, one that we decided to switch from this year, but we've loved in the past. And I'm hoping that this will be a super helpful and informative video for you all. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you the inside of RightStart Math, Math in Focus, which is a Singapore math curriculum, and Saxon Math 5.4. So I'm going to show you 4th grade level curriculum in all 3 so you can kind of get a comparison of what they are like. And I am planning to show you a sample lesson on area in all 3 of the curriculums so you can kind of get a really good feel for how they work. So first up, I'm going to just show you really quickly what each curriculum comes with so that we can kind of just get that out of the way. So let's start with Math in Focus. Math in Focus was the first math curriculum that I used with my kids. It came very highly recommended from our charter school curriculum experts, and it has actually been pretty great for the most part. I was really intimidated by it at the beginning because it is a Common Core math curriculum. However, I started in TK with my oldest and have worked my way all the way up. We are finishing 3rd grade. This is Ellie's 4th grade teacher edition. So I guess it's my 4th grade teacher edition, but she'll be going ahead and doing the next level up, which will be 4th grade next year. And I am feeling really good about teaching it to her again in her 4th grade year. And we even have from our used curriculum, I don't want to say sale, but it was kind of like that. With our school, I ended up getting the 5th grade as well. I do plan on keeping her in that curriculum as long as it works for her. So I'm not worried about it. As a person who didn't grow up learning Common Core, I feel like it is doing a really good job of teaching me how to teach it. So it comes in kind of 2 parts. So you can get the semester A and then go ahead and get semester B later. You can get the full package altogether. Or you can just get bits and pieces of it as you go. It does come with the 4A teacher edition. There's a 4B teacher edition. There's a workbook that is 4A and 4B. And then there's also a hardbound student textbook that you can get with this. We have not once used the student textbook, so ever, like in the several years that we have used this curriculum. So really all you need is the teacher book and the workbook, in my opinion. For Saxon Math, this particular one comes with Saxon Math 5.4, the teacher's edition. This is the tests and worksheet book, and then this one is the solutions manual. I don't feel like we had a solutions manual before. I feel like it was all in the teacher book, but this is the book that comes with all of the answers, so you're gonna want this one. So I feel like if you're gonna buy the Saxon 5.4, you're gonna wanna buy all 3 of these because I feel like they're all vital to the curriculum. And then for RightStart is a little bit different. So it is leveled differently. So like this is level D. Level D was starting fractions. I feel like it is a 4th grade level. My 4th grader did this one this year, but they didn't ask me what grade she was in when I picked it. They asked me what skills she had already learned. So what it comes with is this is the teacher's manual right here with all of your lessons in it. They're very short. very to the point. This is the workbook. One thing that I don't like about this curriculum, I'll say up front, is that the workbook, there's not always a workbook page that goes with each lesson, which is fine, except that the workbook pages don't line up. Like, the numbers are different than what your teacher edition is. The teacher edition does tell you which number page to find, but when I'm reporting back to my school, it's really hard for them to like know where she's at, well, how many lessons she's completed, and those kinds of things. There also is a math card games book. This is a little bit separate from, you buy it separately from the curriculum, but it really is something that you need to go with the curriculum, along with their manipulatives package, which is a one-time purchase. So if you're going to use RightStart Math for a number of years, you only need to buy the manipulatives and work in this card game book one time, and then you're just after that purchasing your teacher guide and your workbook. So that's kind of an overview of what everything comes with, and then I'm going to turn my camera around so that you're looking right at the pages for the rest of this video. Okay, so what I'm going to show you first is the table of contents in each of these books, so you can see what it is that they're going to be teaching over the course of the year. So again, this is the 4th grade curriculum, so each different one is going to be different for different grade levels. I said the word different like 15 times, but you get what I mean. You can find this Math in Focus. This is Math in Focus. Sorry, I just bumped my tripod. You can find this on Amazon or at rainbowresource.com. I will link that below because I may not have said it right. It might be rainbowresources.com, but I will get the right link for you in the description box below. I usually buy it from Rainbow Resources, but if Amazon is easier, it also will come faster. So this one, and you can look up all of the table of contents on rainbowresource.com if you are wanting to see a different grade level. So we have place value. I'm not going to go through every single thing, but just like the main broad categories of what they're covering. So estimation and number theory. We've got whole number multiplication and division, tables and line graphs, data and probability, fractions and mixed numbers, decimals, adding and subtracting decimals, angles, perpendicular and parallel line segments, so some geometry stuff, squares and rectangles, area and perimeter, symmetry, tessellations, and I think that's it. Okay, so that is the table of contents for Math in Focus 4. That is the whole, the table of contents is for the whole year, not just one semester. All right, so let's go on to Saxon Math. Okay, so I feel like the print in this one is smaller, so I apologize for that. But there's reviewing, addition, missing add-ins. This one has, it's really hard, a lot harder because it doesn't have like sections. But Saxon is worth mentioning is also not a mastery curriculum. The other two are mastery. This one is spiral. So there's a lot more segments to it, and it does like it'll come back to addition later probably. And then it'll just like review things throughout the curriculum. All the worksheets will have review and lesson things. It will not do a whole bunch of practice in a row in most cases. So we have review of subtraction, writing numbers through 999, money, adding with regrouping, addition stories with missing add-ins, subtracting 2-digit numbers, adding columns of numbers, reading scales, reading time, rounding numbers to the nearest 10, units of length, perimeter. This is where we get into geometry a little bit, triangles, rectangles, squares, circles, fractions, adding dollars and cents, line segments, subtraction stories, so we're going back to addition and subtraction, multiplication, subtracting 3-digit numbers, multiplication patterns, word problems and comparing, back to fractions, multiplication facts, decimal numbers, subtracting across 0 and missing factors, multiplying multiples of 10 and 100, adding and subtracting decimal numbers, multiplying division, other ways to show division, adding, subtracting. So you see what I mean about, like, it comes back around to different things. 1-digit division, calendar, rate, word problems, multiplying 3-digit numbers, displaying data using graphs, fractions, polygons, division with a 2-digit answer, congruent figures, multiplying, millimeters, fractions, measuring, symmetry, division with zeros. So, I mean, it's a lot of the same information that was in the other book. Mixed numbers and improper fractions, investigating fractions with manipulatives, decimal place value, quadrilaterals, average, mean, median, range, mode, geometric solids, probability, area. That's actually what I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. As far as the lesson goes, rounding whole numbers, renaming fractions, common denominators, dividing by 2-digit numbers, adding and subtracting fractions, adding and subtracting mixed numbers, I can't talk today, using money manipulatives to represent decimal place value, Roman numerals, and I think that's about it. That's like a basic overview of this one. Okay, and this one is RightStart Mathematics. So there's a lot of review. So if you've done this particular curriculum before, they review a lot of things, but this was kind of new information to my daughter, but she learned it just fine, even though they were reviewing. We actually did this particular book this year, so we're at the end of the school year. We've done most of it now. So they do also use an abacus to teach a lot of these beginning concepts. So we did learn how to use the abacus and all of those kinds of things as we went along. So it's mental adding, subtraction, arrays, multiplication, lots of multiplication in 4th grade, the commutative property, associative property, shortcut for multiplying. There's review and games for a lot of things. Multiplication table, area on the multiplication table, evens and odds, short multiplication table. It's a lot of like tips and tricks for how to do math in your head. Finding missing factors, division problems, introducing parentheses. So this was a big deal for us this year. Balancing, distributed property on the math balance, calculator, adding and subtracting, doing different order of operations, estimating, rounding, composing 6-digit numbers, larger numbers, comparing larger numbers, introducing remainders after dividing, check numbers. That one was tricky for me, but if you get confused, you can look on YouTube. YouTube is great for everything. Identifying multiples. There's a bunch of enrichment lessons, which we have done. most of those, and they've been all awesome. I really enjoyed, there's one about music that I really loved. Checking subtraction by adding up, more multiplying, using check numbers with multiplication, and then we got into fractions, which Beth really excelled in her fractions with this particular math curriculum. So there are 140 lessons in this curriculum, so there's a ton. Ruler chart, adding halves and fourths, quarter of an hour, so we did get into time, fractions of a dollar, gallons and quarts, more fractions. There was tons of fractions, you guys. Multiples patterns, geometric patterns, numeric patterns, months of the year, calendar stuff, bar graphs, time to the minute, perimeter, square miles, measuring areas, finding areas, area of tanagram pieces, area and perimeter comparisons. So tons of that, measuring in grams, liters, kilograms, angles, dollars and cents, money. And then we have drawing shapes, drawing by degrees, drawing congruent figures, completing the whole, finding the fraction of a figure, organizing quadrilaterals, symmetry, and then some more review. So that is the table of contents for RightStart Math Level D. So this is, we're going back to Math in Focus. So I'm trying to keep it in order for you guys. So we're gonna do Math in Focus, Saxon Math, RightStart Math, so that we can kind of like keep the continuity going, hopefully bouncing back and forth. It's not too confusing, but I'm trying to keep it like in categories. I'm not sure if that's just the best way to organize this or not, but that's what I landed on. So we're gonna talk about area. So you can kind of see how each lesson might be to get a feel of whether any of these is the right curriculum for your family. So chapter 12 in Math in Focus is area of a rectangle. Well, 12.1. So area and perimeter is, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Area. At least area is covered in this lesson. You guys. So lesson objectives: find the area of rectangle, counting grid squares. Estimate the area of a figure by counting grid squares. Find the area of a rectangle using a formula. These pictures here are of what is in that student textbook that I showed you that I didn't really feel like you needed because everything is already pictured inside of your teacher's manual. So this is that hardbound book. All of this that's showing pictures with the color illustrations on it, that's all inside of, that's what's from this book. So I still maintain I don't think you need to buy that extra book if you are short on funds, because everything that you need is inside of your teacher's manual. So the materials they suggest is a geo board. It says per group. I think they also assume that this is a book that will be used in a classroom. Obviously, you're not going to have a group. Well, it's not likely you're going to have a group. Maybe you have multiple students taking the same course. I only have one per grade, but I do know that, you know, there are different families have different setups. So one piece of dot paper per group, one piece of dot paper per student, one piece of square grid paper, 15 square pieces of cardboard per pair, rubber bands, wire or string for the teacher. I'm not really sure why. But there's a warm-up where they do like a hands-on project with these pieces of cardboard to estimate the area of objects in the classroom. So they're going to be like comparing their cardboard pieces to different objects in your classroom or your living room or wherever, trying to figure out how big those items might be based on how big their piece of cardboard is. So students find the area of a rectangle by counting grid squares. Each square in the figure measures 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Have students count the number of 1 centimeter squares to find the area of a rectangle. Note that the unit for the answer is square centimeters. Okay, find the area of a rectangle using a formula. They find the area of a rectangle using formula. Draw a rectangle on the board. Identify its length and width. And then guide students to find the area of a rectangle as you divide the rectangle as shown in the thought bubble, which is up here. The kids are like teaching the lesson. So count the number of 1-inch squares covering a rectangle. What is the other way to find the area of a rectangle? It is width times length. So there's that. It's pretty simple. I mean, obviously finding area is actually pretty simple. So there's guided practice for a couple of lessons, and then you move on to more things. So I'm hoping that that's enough of a lesson to like kind of give you the vibe of what this is about. So these black and white pictures are of the workbook pages that your student writes in, and then it has all of the answers written right here for you, so you don't have to have like a separate answer key, which I like. So it's just really the 2 books that you need, and then it has all of those for that section. I never do the math journal just because we have to, the pacing that we have is a little bit quicker than what allows for those, and my kids really don't like them anyway, but sometimes they choose to do them, but they are usually relieved to not have to do them because they're more of a brain teaser kind of a situation. So this 12.1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of workbook lesson. So that is 12.1. You can go several days on it, obviously, with what we've got here, or you can do it in one day, which is usually what we do, is 1 lesson per day. Okay, so I learned something as I was looking at this. So this was the math curriculum I had purchased at the end of last school year to do this year with my daughter Beth. And then we ended up switching from this one to RightStart Math. So this is Saxon 4.5. And I'm realizing that the reason that they have a separate solutions manual, remember how I mentioned that earlier? I'm going to eat crow a little bit, but this is not only the teacher's manual, but it also is the student workbook. So this has extra, these tests and worksheets. I was assuming that this was what the student would be writing in because that's how it had been done up until this point. But this just has extra practice. So like if you're looking for facts practice, that's what this book is. And then some additional, like this 1-inch grid does actually go with this lesson that I'm going to show you right now. But it's not what they're going to be mostly practicing. So the problems that they will be practicing will be on subsequent pages. Okay, so they have a warm-up. So you're going to do a facts practice and then these mental math problems. There's some Roman numeral practice and a word problem. So the new concept here, we're talking about estimating area. It's not exactly the same thing as what we were learning in the Saxon Math that I just showed, but it was the closest concept that I could find in the 3 books. Like that was, you know, kind of similar. So it gives you some strategies for finding this. So this is obviously, it's not a rectangle, it's a triangle. So to estimate the areas of shapes, we can use a grid. So there's a script in this, which I do really like. Below, we show a triangle drawn on a 1-inch grid of paper. We will describe the 2 strategies that can be used to estimate the area of the triangle. The first strategy, look within the outline of the figure. Count all of the squares. Then estimate the number of entire squares that could be formed with the remaining partial squares. So it's not a very long lesson. So here is the rest of it. So using the strategy, we count F as an entire square. So F is the only one whole square on here. And then it talks about puzzling it all together, basically. Second strategy, look within the outline of the figure, count all the entire squares as in the first strategy, then count all the squares that seem to have at least half their area within the outline of the figure. Do not count the squares that have less than half of their area within the figure. Using this strategy, we again count F as an entire square, then we count E, B, and G. At least half of the area of each square is within the outline of the triangle. We do not count A, C, or D because they're less than half. And then you can estimate the area of the triangle to be about 4 square inches. So those are estimating area. They have practices where this is like an irregular shape. Here's a hand. And then there's mixed practice with all of these different word problems, etc. here. So you can use this grid paper. So like for instance, if you wanted to draw your hand on here and find the area of your own hand, you could do that. And then there's more practice here. So that is the Saxon 5-4. These are shorter lessons than what we had been doing, so I think maybe Beth could have done this just fine, but she really just wasn't enjoying this at all, and it was a struggle last year to get through our math curriculum using the Saxon. So that's why we switched. Up until last year, it had been just fine. We switched from Math in Focus with her to Saxon because the Common Core approach was a little bit too heavy for her and she had a hard time with it. So we did go ahead and switch to Saxon, and then made the switch this year after going to a homeschool convention and seeing the RightStart Math, switch to that, and that actually has been a really good approach for her. Specifically, she really needed the hands-on to kind of understand some of these different concepts, and is doing really well with it. So I'm going to show you what math, what the RightStart Math is next. You guys, this is the RightStart Math curriculum for measuring area. The objective is to compare areas using square inches and square centimeters. They do have these little manipulatives. So this is a square inch. One side of this cube is a square centimeter. They have a little warm-up, which I will show you. I usually wouldn't show one of my kids' completed workbook pages just because privacy on their part, but she did this so beautifully. So here is the warm-up for this section. There's just 3 problems. So a multiplication problem, a subtraction problem, and an addition problem. And then it gets right to the lesson. It's a short lesson. These typically take us less than a half an hour, depending. This one was shorter because it was a little bit easier. Reviewing square inches, we did talk about square inches before. Give the child tile. There's also a script here, so it's very easy to teach this. Okay, give the child tiles and centimeter cubes. Gosh, you guys, I can't talk tonight. Show a tile and ask, how long is the side of a tile? That is this. 1 inch. What do we call the space that the tile covers? It's the area. What is the area of a tile? 1 square inch. And then it shows how to write a square inch. Area equals 1 inch squared. Explain that we read it as 1 square inch. The little 2 means that we have inches in 2 directions. So it's an inch this way and an inch this way. And then we talk about centimeters the same way. And then you do the worksheet together. So problems 1 through 4 have to do with inches. Problems 5 through 8 have to do with centimeters. You can use these inside of this rectangle. You could use 8 to show. We only used 1. I had her make little lines so she could kind of see how many would fit in there. And then it says, why are the areas different for the same rectangle? Because obviously these are different sizes, so it would take more centimeters to fill up this rectangle than inches. So that is the basics of all of this. There's a little in conclusion where it asks more questions that have to do with this, but you get the point. That is the RightStart area lesson, and then there's several of them. This is a mastery approach. So we will be talking about area again tomorrow, and then doing area and perimeter comparison after we finish, because we just already did the perimeter. Okay, friends, so that is my quick comparison for these 3 math curriculums, if I can pick them up. So Math in Focus, RightStart Math, Saxon Math 5.4, and I hope that was informative and helpful. Math is my least confident subject, but I do feel like these 3 curriculums do a really good job of helping the parent to be able to teach math confidently and competently to their students. So I do recommend any of those. Just I hope that like seeing the inside and seeing kind of a sample lesson will help you to know which one, if any, is the right fit for your family or your kids. I think I mentioned it before, but I choose a math curriculum separately for each kid. I don't just say, as a blanket statement, here is the curriculum that my family is using. So my 2 little kids use Math in Focus, although they're not so little anymore. I will have a 2nd grader and a 4th grader using this curriculum next year. And then Beth will continue to use RightStart Math level E next year. We already have that in our homeschool closet ready to go. But if you have more questions, I am more than happy to answer them. I also have a free homeschool help group. It's called Homeschool at Heart Help Group on Facebook, where if you want to join in there, it's a little easier. I can send you videos and things like that in that group of like more inside stuff. Or the manipulatives that come with the RightStart program, or if you wanted to see an example of one of the math games, there is a math game that goes with just about every single lesson. They're card games, and all that other stuff. I also do like to get board games that go with these concepts too. We have tons of fraction stuff, and I will link my games video in the description box below, so that you guys can kind of check out some of the stuff that we have. Also in my homeschool haul video that I just did, we got a bunch more math games. If you can't tell, we really love games around here. Also, I did a similar flip through of Nancy Larsen Science, if you are interested in that. And then I do also have another video about what exactly we're using for next year, at least at this point in time, that's my plan for next year. So if you want to see more videos like this, I'd love it if you would click the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. And you can also find me on Instagram. My handle there is Homeschool at Heart, same as this YouTube channel. And if there are other homeschool families in your life that you think might benefit from content like this, I would love it if you would share my channel with them. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video.